This is VK6ARN, Newswest. We are a community organisation and we've been serving up the best amateur radio news in Australia since 1931. Hi there, I'm Clinton, VK6FCRC, and welcome to Newswest for the 31st of August 2025. I hope everyone's having a good day today at the NCRG Hamfest. Hopefully I am able to make it today. So you might see me around. Anyway, let's get started with today's news.
Time is passing quickly and the sun doesn't stop rising and setting. It's time to check your calendars. Grab a permanent marker and write it in. The NCRG Hamfest is on again come August 31st, 2025. You won't be surprised to find out the event is at the Cyril Jackson Rec Centre at the end of Fisher Street in Bassendean. The Hamfest committee allocated most of the tables last year, but there are some available for 2025. And even better, they're free to sellers or avid amateur radio demonstrators. Entry on the day will be $5 per person, regardless of whether you're a seller, a buyer, or which radio club you belong to. Entry is 7:30am for sellers, from 9am for buyers, and we expect the event will finish up around 12 noon. If you'd still like to reserve a table, please contact Club President Brad Peters, VK6BAP, on 0427 401 513, or via email at bradcortina1600, BRADCORTINA 1600 at gmail.com. The number again, if you missed it, is 0427 401 513. And don't forget to head over to the NCRG webpage, ncrg.org.au. It's got all your Hamfest information and for details and prizes of the 2025 Hamfest raffle. With over $3,000 in prizes up for grabs, this is your chance to win big while you give back to the community that keeps us on air. I'm Glenn, Victor Kilo 6, Papa Alpha Whiskey, for the Northern Corridor Radio Group.
Hello everyone, this is Clive, VK6CSW, reminding you that tomorrow is the first Monday of the month, time for the Radio Amateurs Old Timers Club of Australia's September Bulletin to go to air. This month, as well as the details of the upcoming luncheons in both Perth and Melbourne, we will offer an historical broadcast from years past by Alan Doble, VK3AMD, from February 2003. The usual news and information will be broadcast next month. Everyone, RAOTC members and non-members alike, is most welcome to listen to the programme and to join in the callbacks afterwards. However, for any Perth listeners who may be unable to hear tomorrow's bulletin, the September lunch in Perth will be on Tuesday, September the 9th at the 7 Mile Bar and Bistro, located at 501 Wanneroo Road, Balcatta. Full details of the new venue and how to get there can be found on the club's website at www.raotc.org.au or by simply putting RAOTC in your favourite search engine. Be sure to visit the subheading named Lunches for the latest information. If you wish to attend on Tuesday, September the 9th, please email Lunch Coordinator Alistair, VK6ATX, ASAP. Alistair's email address is VK6 Kilo India Foxtrot at bigpond.com. Once again, that's VK6KIF at bigpond.com. Now, some local broadcast details. Tomorrow, Chris VK6JI will transmit the bulletin on 80 metres on 3620 kHz starting at 8 a.m. At 9 a.m. local time tomorrow, there's a transmission via digital mobile radio on the VK DMR network Talk Group 5. At 10 a.m. local, The program will be transmitted via the Newswest linked repeater system, simultaneously with a 40-metre transmission on 7088 kHz, again by Chris VK6JI. At midday, 0400 Zulu, there's a 10-metre transmission on 28.450 MHz from Mike VK8MA. On Wednesday, September the 3rd, we have a D-Star broadcast at about 5:30 p.m. WA local time. This will be transmitted via D-Star Reflector 91C following AR Newsline. On Sunday, September the 7th, repeats of the RAOTC bulletin follow the 80-metre, 160-metre and 40-metre broadcasts of the WIA News. Full details of all transmission times, frequencies and modes can be found on the RAOTC website. If none of the transmission times suit you, you can download the audio file at any time from today from the club's website. Tune in tomorrow for the September RAOTC broadcast, and we look forward to hearing your call sign in the callbacks. 73 from Clive VK6CSW.
Dear HAM members, it's time to get excited. The Northern Corridor Radio Group, NCRG, is thrilled to launch our 2025 Hamfest fundraising raffle, and you're invited to join in the fun while supporting our club's future. With over $3,000 in prizes up for grabs, this is your chance to win big while giving back to the community that keeps us on the air. Here's what you need to know. Raffle website. Purchase your tickets online at https://raffelink.com.o/HAMF-EAST-raffle-225 prize. Pool. First prize. $2,000 Andrews Communications voucher. Choose from a wide range of amateur radio gear. Second prize. $699 Comtech voucher. Upgrade your shack with top tier EQU IPM EN to third prize. Alinco DJC RX7H E handheld radio, valued at $229. Fourth prize, $200 Comtech store credit ticket prices, $5 for one ticket, $10 for two tickets, $20 for four tickets, $1.40 for 8 tickets, $80 for 16 tickets, $100 for 20 tickets, $250 for 50 tickets important dates. Ticket sales open June 25th, 2025. Online and cash sales close August 31st, 2025. Cash sales end at 11 a.m. at the Cyril Jackson Recreation Center. Permit holder only. Draw date August 31st, 2025. At noon during Hamfest 2025, ticket sales permitted WA Conzi QLD NSW.say.tas VicVic 61904 WA LS 223274025 Northern Corridor Radio Groups Inc. is a responsible community organization following the Gaming and Wagering Commission Act 1987. Where to view results: NCRG website hep://ncrg.info/wp/raffle link page http://raffelink.com.o/HAMFEST-2025. All ticket packages comply with WOMIA's DRGLS regulations and are processed securely via Raffle Link on behalf of the Northern Corridor Radio Group, Inc. Let's make this raffle our most successful yet. Every ticket sold helps fund NCRG's ongoing projects, events, and upgrades, all while giving you the chance to walk away with some top-notch gear. Act now and grab your tickets before they're gone. The clock is ticking, and the draw is just around the corner on August 31st. Best regards, Matthew McDonough, VK6ML, Vice President, NCRG 0436022860.
This is Newswest. your amateur radio news on VK6ARN, originating on the Newswest linked repeater network and HF relays.
Hi, just a little note about VK6RRG and the WAG Technical and General Net. Having it run every Sunday morning on VK6RLM, that's 146.750, or Channel 3 in the old money. And it starts at 10:30 a.m. this morning. Of course, if you're listening in the evening, it's next week.
This is Newswest, your amateur radio news on VK6ARN, originating on the Newswest linked repeater network and HF relays.
Commencing on Friday the 24th of October and concluding on Monday the 27th of October 2025, the VKFF team are hosting the 3rd annual VKFF National Get-Together. This year, the get-together is being held in Canberra. The VKFF National Get-Together is an event for those interested in the worldwide Flora and Fauna Park program, no matter if you are a beginner or an experienced park activator or hunter. Previous get-togethers have been held in Renmark, South Australia and Bendigo, Victoria, and these proved to be very popular. This year's event in Canberra will kick off with an evening meal on Friday night at the Lighthouse Pub in Belconnen. On Saturday, a series of presentations will be delivered during the day on various topics relating to the WWFF program and operating portable. This will be held at the Eastlake Football Club. A raffle will be held on Saturday with some excellent prizes, including transceivers. On Saturday evening, a dinner function will be held at the Eastlake Football Club. This includes a guest speaker. On Sunday, a barbecue breakfast will be held at Black Mountain Peninsula Barbecue Area. This will be followed by a linked dipole construction session. Sunday afternoon will see a large number of amateurs heading out into the field to activate VKFF parks. 4 experienced VKFF park activators have volunteered to take less experienced park activators out to some of the ACT parks to show them some of the tips in successfully activating a VKFF park. On Sunday evening, a dinner will be held at the Gungahlin Lakes Golf Club. The get-together will conclude on Monday with some visits to the Royal Australian Mint and the Australian War Memorial. You must register to attend this event. Walk-ups will not be accepted. You can attend whatever part of the get-together you choose, but you must register. More information on the 2025 VKFF National Get-Together can be found on the WWFF Australia website at www.ffaustralia.com. Many thanks for listening. 73, Paul, VK5, Papa Alpha Sierra, the VKFF National Coordinator.
Hi, this is Alan, VK4 Sierra November, the Remembrance Day Contest Manager. Well, once again, everyone had a great time in this very friendly contest. Bank conditions, unfortunately, were not the best, and there were a few stations that could not work due to static crashes or QSB. We have well over 100 logs submitted so far. Remember, for those who try to submit ADIF files, logs require conversion to Cabrillo format before submission is accepted. On vklogchecker.com there is a link to a converter designed by Peter, VK2PR, specifically for VK contests. This is the only converter that works for VK logs. Please do not email me ADIF, as there is nothing I can do with it. The cut-off time for log submission is August 31st at 0300 Zulu. Remember too that if you're in the youth operator category, please enter the youth option in the log header, as this is the first year for the youth awards. Please email me any pictures of your RD adventure, as I may be able to include them in the AR magazine reports. If you're not sure of something, the rules have all the info you need. Good luck everyone, and best 73s. This is Alan, VK4 Sierra November.
Foundations of Amateur Radio. The other day I stumbled on a random post by Gary, November 8 Delta Mike Tango, which caused me to view the world in a different way. The post outlined combining a Pluto SDR and an application called SAT-SAGAN to measure the frequency characteristics of a coupler. Aside from a detailed description, the post includes a couple of excellent photos showing the Pluto SDR connected to the coupler and the output piped back into the Pluto. Before I continue, a Pluto SDR is a software-defined radio, or SDR. Officially, it's called the ADALM Pluto Software-Defined Radio Active Learning Module. It's essentially a full duplex radio and computer in a box. It runs Linux and connects to the world via USB, and of course radio, unofficially between 70 MHz and 6 GHz. I've talked about this device before. When I say full duplex, I mean that it can transmit and receive at the same time. Gary's post triggered something unexpected in me. The notion that you could use two patch leads, one connected to the transmitter, the other connected to the receiver, joined together by a device that you might want to test. It immediately reminded me of another device that was given to me, a Nano VNA, a device that's specifically designed to measure things like impedance, frequency response, generate Smith charts, and all manner of other characteristics. Not only that, it also reminded me of another device, a Tiny SA, specifically designed to analyze spectrum and to generate signals. Both the Nano VNA and Tiny SA are lovely tools, but in looking at the post it suddenly occurred to me that their functionality, at least superficially, appears to mirror the Pluto SDR, in that you can create a signal and then measure that signal. Turns out that I'm not the first to make this observation. For example, the YouTube channel, From Concept to Circuit, goes through the process of describing precisely the concepts behind both a spectrum analyzer and a network analyzer, while showing the programming code in Python. The channel also provides that code in a GitHub repository, which includes several other very interesting examples, like a beamforming transmitter as well as a beamforming receiver, also covered on YouTube. Another example is a tool I already mentioned, SAT-SAGAN, by Alberto, India Uniform 1 Kilo Victor Lima, which implements a wideband spectrum analyzer. Although it's Windows only, Alberto includes information on how to run it using Wine under Linux and Mac OS. As a bonus, SAT-SAGAN, in addition to the Pluto SDR, also supports RTL SDR dongles, HackRF, USRP, RSP1, AirSpy, and many others. If text is more your thing, Retrogram Pluto SDR shows a spectrogram in your terminal window. Check out the Romeo 4 Delta 10 November GitHub repository belonging to Rakesh, Victor Uniform 3 Romeo Golf Papa, who says that the Retrogram project is, quote, hacked from, unquote, the RX ASCII Art DFT example, which you can find on the Etis Research GitHub repository. One thing to consider is that the various GitHub repositories I've pointed at will give you access to the moving parts on how all this works. I will mention that my favourite tool in this space continues to be GNU Radio, but I understand that you might not want to roll your own tool from parts. That said, rolling your own is, in my experience, a great way to discover precisely what you don't know and to come away learning more, but then that's just me. Regardless of your chosen tool, I think the takeaway should be that when you try something new, even if it's only new to you, the idea of writing down what you discovered and sharing it is a fantastic way to grow our community. Remember, just because something is old hat to you doesn't mean that it is to the person you share it with. Besides, based on the current global birth rate, there's at least 1,000 babies born during the past 4 minutes, some of whom will become radio amateurs. So share. Said differently, if you come across a person who has never heard of the Diet Coke and Mentos thing, it's your job to immediately drag them to the nearest grocery store and introduce them. In case you're wondering, XKCD 1053. Now, I'm going to update the firmware on my Pluto SDR and have a play. I already know about the Mentos, but if you don't, you're in for a treat. What are you going to do next? I'm Ono, Victor Kilo 6, Foxtrot Lima, Alpha Bravo.
This is Newswest, your amateur radio news on VK6ARN, originating on the Newswest linked repeater network and HF relays.
Hello again, listeners. Roy VK6 X-Ray Victor with this week's helpline, the 31st of August 2025. Not much different today, much the same as last week. Matthew VK6MRG is still looking for an ICOM separation cable for an IC7000 transceiver. The part number is Oscar Papa Charlie 1443. If you can help him with that item or know where you may get one, we know we can get one from ICOM possibly, so that might be a good starting point. But if you have a better option, please contact Matthew. His email address is vk6mike-romeo-golf@gmail.com. vk6mike-romeo-golf@gmail.com. Next I have from Terry, a Yaesu Fox Tango 101 Bravo HF transceiver, $500. It's working condition. Also has a Yaesu Fox Tango 201 transceiver, $450. That's working also. And a Drake Romeo 4 Charlie receiver, $400. Okay, working as well. Also has a Barrett 910 auto-tune antenna, also operational, and $400 for that. Contact Terry on VK6 Lima Tango Charlie at outlook.com. Terry's from Outbacker, and his call sign again, VK6 Lima Tango Charlie at outlook.com is his email address. And from Wayne, VK6 Fox Tango, we still have the following: Yaesu Fox Tango 990, complete with microphone, HF transceiver, original box, manual, asking 600 dB, $600. There's also an ICOM India Charlie 229 Hotel 2-meter 50-watt mobile FM transceiver with a manual, mounting bracket and microphone, $50 for that. There's also an ICOM Sierra Mic-8 dual radio desk microphone. In other words, will operate for two radios from one mic, $150 for that. Contact Wayne, his mobile number, 0423 185 032. 0423 185 032. And that, my friends, is all I have for this week. Maybe see you at the Hamfest. Go to the Hamfest, see if you can pick up a bargain there. This is Roy, VK6 X-Ray Victor 73, and thank you for listening. And my email address, VictorKilo6 X-Ray Victor @bigpond.com is the only address you need. VK6 X-Ray Victor @bigpond.com. 73 from me and from him. Cheers, 73.
Hi there, it's Clinton, VK6FCRC, back with you. And did you know that Newswest is now on YouTube? Type in youtube.com/@Newswest weekly podcast -Kilo Zulu 7 Yankee Charlie. Oh, and before I go, I'd like to thank those watching on YouTube or ATV and you for listening. I'd also like to thank our team, the broadcasters, and those submitting content each week. Please stand by now for callbacks after the broadcast, or head over to the VK6.net website and fill out the form so we know how many people are listening each week.